Hi everyone, thanks for joining us and welcome to today's episode of Shagalinku TV. As always, my name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari and today we will bring you another topic. We're looking at social media and also the mainstream media. How have they fared so far? Be it TV, be it radio, and then we'll also look at what are the blessings and curses that is associated with social media. Growing up, they told us that for every good side, there must be a bad side. I wouldn't know about that. I'll let you handle that and let us know what you think about that. But for today, we'll be asking Brian Emeka, a content and communication officer who is also a social worker and an activist, to tell us what he thinks about social media, what he also thinks about the mainstream media. Are they doing enough, do you think, in coverage and reportage of issues that affect vulnerable people, young people, women, and all of that? Do they report it extensively? What we see on TV and radio and all of that every time is more about entertainment, politics. Hardly do they talk about environment, hardly do they beam the searchlight on vulnerable people and key population and all of that. Anyway, joining me is Brian Emeka to talk about these issues. Let's go enjoy that interview with him and we will be right back. You're welcome. This is Shagalinku TV and we'd like you to tell us your name, what you do, and then your state of residence.
Okay. So my name is Brian Emeka. I am a content and communications person. I'm also a social worker and activist. I generally work with content creation in terms of digital marketing and creating content for a whole host of groups across social issues and other aspects that have to deal with that.
Thank you so much, Brian. So looking at the media in Africa, do you think that the media is independent? Don't you still have government breathing down their throat and all of that? What would you say is your view generally about media?
So in Africa as a whole, I think it's been made very well aware to people in Africa that consistently media agencies in the past generally pushed information that was either for themselves or that was politically motivated. It's not been a current occurrence. It's been altered recently with more independent media agencies trying to create more news that is much more encompassing about information that is available to everybody in the public. So there are few agencies that do the actual work of going ahead to make sure that news are given factually so that everybody has access to the right information.
So in your view, would you say the media is doing so well in covering all aspects? Because sometimes you also get worried when you see a particular trend, being shown or being broadcasted and all of that. So what's your view concerning media and how you think they are faring so well in, reporting of different issues?
Okay, so in respect to the media, so there's already sensation and awareness that the media does consistently. It covers most things like political issues, entertainment issues, which is what most people see for media agencies. You also see things maybe in sports or other such related issues. But in situations of, how will I put it, sensitive issues, let's say social issues that are impacting particular groups or communities, there is some coverage, but the coverage itself doesn't seem to be showing in the best possible light that they can possibly put into. That's basically, I think that yes, they do show that there is sensitization on different issues, but not on every issue. Like sensitization is just towards issues that they prefer to focus on, or they believe that they would want the public to see, as opposed to granting the public the opportunity to see all possible aspects of what makes us a society.
Still riding on the first one you just talked about, why do we see more of politics and entertainment, particularly entertainment, because when you talk with some people, they tell you that young people form the basics of maybe viewers and all of that, and then many media houses are also integrating social media into their mainstream and all of that, so they are trying to catch the attention of the public. So you see more of football, politics and entertainment. Why do you think that is the crux? Is it because maybe there's more money, you get more sponsorship from all of that, and people don't look at other areas?
So I do think that money plays into it. Yes, I think money plays a big deal into it. But I also think that social issues have a way of galvanizing people towards wanting to, deal with the problem or deal with the situation at hand. And they're also hot button topics. But I think the focus on entertainment is or entertainment or politics is because that is what everybody else knows, or that's what most people want to see. But in issues that are more social, that have to deal with maybe minority groups or women, or let's create situations like rape or assault or situations like that, I don't think that work is being done the right way to talk about those issues. If you go to your newspapers now, or your blogs, or maybe even your TV news to see what is being talked about, most times headlines always come up with very, what's what I'm looking for? They use clickbait words that do not entirely give a full overview of what is being discussed, but are pushed in order for them to create debates or discussions that are in no way alluding to the story, but are just to make the story a bit more, what's what I'm looking for, what's the word that would be, just to push clout. I think the word I'll use is to push clout. So yes, I think that's what most news agencies does. When they don't focus on their major issues and they decide they want to step their feet into something that is a little bit more out there, it is not for the essence of telling the full story or telling the story as it is or as factually as it is. It is more for creating stories that will sell out of those stories. So I don't think that they do the work of focusing on different issues the way they should focus on those issues. Yeah.
Let's even come back to reporting of women issues and all of that.
Okay.
Before we even go to the next question, how can media begin to report things differently? You know, because we can't continue this way. There are very pressing issues, climate change, COVID-19, still a big deal, you know, across the world. How can media begin to portray some of these things, and knowing that it's not just about entertainment or politics, but women issues, vulnerable groups, and all of that?
I think the major thing they need is information. I think not just information, but the right information to know how to tackle these issues. I think that most times they use tactics that have been used years before, and they use they use the same patterns that other media agencies across the world have used. Whereas media agencies across the world are trying to shift themselves from just being hot topics to talk about, and now moving towards creating issues that people want to talk about, that people need to talk about because those issues affect everybody. I feel like I think, and I would recommend that they actually, in terms of creating these stories, think about it, employ empathy and understanding towards creating this content, towards ensuring that as much as this news should get everybody's attention, it should get everybody's attention for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. I think that if they went ahead to do that, and then to think not only in meeting their quota or meeting their stats that they need, that they also go ahead to pass information that is clear to everybody, that would be a better way for them to approach these situations or these incidents.
So yes, having to see the influx of a whole lot of issues, the Gen Zs, young people crisscrossing from one country to another, you know, going abroad to study and then coming back with a new culture shock and all of that. What would you say social media has been either an influence or a disadvantage to the general public, and somehow it's also affecting the mainstream media? You know, it's becoming something that even mainstream media are finding ways to blend social media and their other form of broadcast. So is social media a blessing? Is it a curse? What, to your view, is the issues here? Because sometimes you hear something else on social media, and then on the mainstream media it's a complete different package, and then someone could wake up and tell you it's hate speech and all of that. Yeah.
Okay. So first things first, it's obvious for everything that man creates for it to be termed, for it to have a good side and a bad side. Social media is one of those tools, and social media is one of the biggest advancements that we've had in the media agencies for a long period of time, because it grants you access to a whole variety of people, even outside of the base you think you have. because it grants you access to people all over the world. I think social media is a great, impressive tool because where media agencies find themselves having to report things that they believe that they would want people to see or they've been told to make people see, social media grants everybody the ability to be able to share information and data. The problem with this is that fact-checking the information you get on social media can be hard, but with the right amount of resources and the right amount of research, you will find the right news. But all of that news is available for you on social media. I feel that social media has had its bad sides. Take, for example, during this election period or during situations of unrest that happened in Nigeria, or maybe even during the COVID situation, with WhatsApp and Instagram and Twitter most especially, being a way for people to share information, different perspectives or different issues were being shared, and it was kind of hard for you to tie into the ones which were real and true and the ones which were not. But at the same time, people had the information. The beautiful thing about social media is that you will have the information. It's just your job to take out, and it just falls on the individual to do the actual work to find out what information is right and what information is wrong. I feel that media agencies I've seen that leveraging so that they can find social media to reach more people, and that's a good thing. But I would prefer if, like I've said before, they use those tools the right way as opposed to using it to create clout in order to build much more fan base and rise their followers and rise their engagements. I would prefer if they went ahead to then, let me give, for example, now, a news agency that comes to, not a news agency, but a media agency that comes to mind is Zikoko. Zikoko does a lot of content that is projected towards a wide variety of people, subset of people. It doesn't just cover a subset of people that are perceived to be normal. It subsets over everybody, cutting people across race, tribe, sexual orientation, religion. Everybody has a place and every story will be told. It just depends on the user who is reading the story to interpret the story in their own way. And the good thing about things like that, when people do things this way, is that people can then make their own choices as opposed to being pushed to believe that since everybody believes this, then I will go ahead with that. It allows you to be able to ask questions by yourself internally and come to judgments based on your own self internally, as opposed to being motivated by external forces because that is the only thing you see. So I do feel that social media has its bad sides, but overall, in all generality, it's been a really good entry into the media and technology space.
So looking at all of this and knowing that Africa and even Nigeria particularly has a potpourri of different culture, religion, tribal and ethnicity divide and all of that, do you also think that some media houses or even media practitioners have a way of being biased sometimes with their religious and cultural inclinations?
I don't think I know that that's actually happened, and it's not a pushback on anybody. It's very, very humanistic for your biases to tie into the work you do. Most times people think that it's very easy for people to be able to differentiate themselves from their biases and then make choices that are evenly placed for everybody, that are evenly balanced. But unfortunately, that doesn't work because human beings will always be human beings. In terms of religion and culture plays a lot into most of African media. There are rules for things you can do. This thing crosses down into how advertising bodies or how media agency bodies govern the things that people put out on TV or online. The problem with this is that religion and culture doesn't take into subsect everybody in society. It only takes into a group of people that fall within that religion, and that is taken to be the vast majority, whereas that's not the case, because no matter where you are, in whatever country, state, village, home, everybody has defining cultures and values that are particular to themselves or to the groups they identify with, and everybody has to be able to be allowed the ability to air their information across board. It can't just be placed, the moral compass or the information compass should not be placed on a particular axis because of the fact that you believe that that is the right thing to do. Your morality stops where somebody else's ended, where someone else's ends. So I do believe that religion and culture do play a part in how the media portrays news, and most often than not, in my own case, I believe that it is not a good thing.
It's been a pleasure having you, and on a final note, I'd like you to let us know in 1 or 2 minutes what is your final word to maybe practitioners and the government, maybe citizens, on how we can do all of this, because yes, media is like the live stream and blood of any nation.
So my last word in regards to this will mostly be towards the agencies that I'm talking about, or media people. it is imperative that your job is to share information, and it is imperative that the information you share, I understand the nuances to these things and how businesses and how media agencies work, but it is also imperative on you to be able to share news that is factual. It is also imperative on you to share all news, not just some news. You have to be able to grant everybody the ability to be able to know that they are heard, or that their issues or challenges or their successes are expressed. You cannot, because of perception or public perception or moral standpoint, believe that some people are meant to be heard, because that's discriminatory to everybody. That means that not everybody will get the ability to be able to feel like they are being listened to, or that they're being acknowledged, or that they are even there's even a chance of them being heard. So that's my last word. I would ask that be factual in your information, be intersectional in your work, and ensure that everybody feels like they have a voice to be heard with whatever media agency or whichever media fronts you are working with.
I must say thanks so much to Mr. Brian Emeka for that very wonderful and incisive one. I hope you learned one or two things from that interview. Don't forget to also like all our social media handles. It is at Shagalinku TV. And do give us your comments and let us know what you think about our topics, our guests, and if you have a topic you feel you'd like us to discuss, do drop your comments in the comment section, or you send us an email on shagalinkutv1@gmail.com, and we will respond to it and also find a way of making sure we take it to the next level. Thanks everyone for joining us. Till I see you on the other side of the show, my name still is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, urging you to have a beautiful, beautiful day. Remember, no matter what you're going through or no matter what you do, just try and put a smile on someone's face. Peace and bye-bye.